Thank y'all. I appreciate that. Thank y'all.
All right, Cedric is ready to roll, so just raise your hand with questions, and we'll bring the microphone around.
Yeah, Cedric, seems like a unit that plays a lot of guys up front for Florida. How do you go about preparing for such a variety of opponent?
So when they play a lot of guys, I think you have to watch more film. You gotta watch everything, and I know sometimes when teams are up late in games and they start to put other guys in, I know sometimes people have the tendency to maybe turn the game off and stuff like that. But I think with a team like this that plays so many guys, it's very important to watch those reps. Just because you never know who can get in the game, you never know who can end up out there, what may happen. So I think it's really important to watch extra film this week and just try to have a base understanding for each guy, what they like to do, their favorite moves, what their goal is being put in the game. I think that they do a tremendous job of playing certain guys in certain situations. So understanding if this guy is in, what is he in there to do? So I think that's the biggest thing is just trying to, I guess, play the game within the game and kind of get a bit of an understanding of what each guy's role is on their defense without actually being told that.
Cedric, you guys have had to weather some changes on the line this year, some turnover, but you've only allowed 6 sacks. What's been the key to weathering the storm?
That's tough because personally, I don't really think that's good. But I mean, I guess we've done an okay job of minimizing sacks, um, and I think it's come from a couple things. I think we do a decent job of protecting. I definitely think that we have some technique things that we could be better at, for sure. But also too, I think Carson does a tremendous job of trying to get rid of the ball. So I think it's a bit of everything. I think we do a pretty good job of protecting, but also I think Carson does a good job of not holding the ball for 10 seconds. So
Cedric, how beneficial do you feel like the bye week was to the offensive line, and was there any particular area you feel like you guys really, focused on, improved on during that bye week?
it's a great question. I think that as a unit, our main goal was just try and take as much coaching from Coach Charles as possible. I think he did a great job of getting us back to the basics, going back to basic techniques and things that you kind of lose throughout the season as you go on because you're more so focused on opponents and schemes and things like that. You're now focusing on your second step, maybe not traveling as far as it needs to make that A block, just little things like that. Um, I think that we've done a tremendous job of just focusing on it in the bye week. So I'm really happy about what we were able to accomplish in the bye week. I think we had a really good week of practice.
You're obviously a Nolans guy, and what did you know about this Georgia-Florida rivalry and Jacksonville thing before you came to Georgia, and now as a veteran, what's your sentiments about it?
So I didn't know much when I first got here. I think being from New Orleans, most of the time what I saw was LSU, obviously, and I can actually remember one of my first LSU memories was against Georgia. It was Ty Gurley. That was one of my first memories of Georgia. But I think when you get here, I think you're told about Georgia, Florida. You're told about the game, what it means, the history, the guys that have played in it. But I think it's upon each individual to kind of do their own research. So going back, we have the internet now, so pretty much everything is accessible to you. So going to YouTube, watching those old games, knowing about some of the stats and stuff that Jarvis Jones maybe have had in his games when he played here. It's that level of understanding, but also understanding too when you play in these games, having the experience of having played in it. Excuse me. You know that in order to have a successful season, you have to go through those guys. Everything that you want to accomplish goes through that team. So I think that's the biggest thing is just kind of taking what you're told and then developing your own understanding for it.
Yeah, Cedric Kirby was saying that it's never been harder to get a yard when you need to get a yard, 3rd and 1, 4th and 1. Just from a center's perspective, why is that so hard now, and what's the mindset when you have to get a yard when you need one?
Well, I think if you apply it specifically to like Florida, I think they have a bunch of big guys up front. They do a tremendous job of crowding the ball and things like that. But I think overall, just in general, around the country, I think it's such a key focal point because it's such a huge down. If you stop that, you gain momentum. A lot of the time, if a team's going for it, is to try and pin another team on maybe the inside the 10. It's a lot of things that go into that with those factors. such a critical down. I think defensive coordinators are doing a tremendous job of scheming for it with the adding of the quarterback sneak, different things of it's so many things. It's so meticulous to the things that are happening, but it's very important. It's really hard just because it's always a game being played inside of a game, and just understanding. Yeah, it's a lot.
So that's your left. How do you like this neutral site location? Are you okay with it? Do you think it'd be fun to do a little home and home every once in a while?
That's a tough one. I think that the neutral site game is good, and I have enjoyed playing in it. I genuinely really have enjoyed playing it. I think it's an amazing atmosphere. Going to Jacksonville, having some of your fans, having some of their fans, I think it's genuinely good. I don't think that the home and home series would be bad. I don't. I think it would add some fire to the series because I think playing at Sanford Stadium against Florida, I can only imagine the amount of noise that would be in there, and vice versa, playing, Georgia in the swamp. Who can imagine the amount of sounds that will come out of either of those places? But all in all, that's not my decision. So I want to be as respectful as possible. But I've enjoyed the Jacksonville series, but I don't think it would be a bad idea to play home and home.
Cedric, what did you think of the job Monroe did against Vanderbilt, and how far have you seen him come along, just over the course of his freshman year?
So I think that Monroe has done a tremendous job so far in the opportunity that he's gotten because I know it's not easy. Like I've been a freshman and I've been a part of where sometimes as a freshman you have no idea what's going on. You know nothing about the offense. You know nothing about what your role really is. But the fact that he was in a position to where he was able to play and help, but also do it at a high level, I think it's amazing. It says a lot about him. I think he is a long way from where he could be, and that's so encouraging because if you're able to play well and you're not even at the brink of the surface of where you could be, I think it only says to if he works what he could be maybe in the future. Let the Lord say the same. So really excited about his future, and I'm really, really thankful and grateful that he was able to step in and play the way he did.
Just going back to the Vandy game real quick, in the heat of the moment, it looked like Carson fumbled the snap that you ended up picking the ball up and carrying for 6 yards. I just wonder what actually happened, on that play, and have you lobbied Georgia or official stats to give you rushing stats there because it went in as a team rush?
Well, I don't really care what anybody says. I have a rush. So, yeah, I'm sure at some point when I leave here I'll get that framed, and that'll be in my house forever. But I guess in a less serious way, thankful for the medical staff, Ryan Medellino and all those guys. To be honest, my legs felt great. I was able to accomplish some great things on this play, and I credit that to them. But in all seriousness, it was a botch snap, 100% on me. I can sit up here and make excuses about whatever, but I'm not going to. It is what it is. I messed it up. And the only thing that was going through my mind at that time was just trying to figure out a way to get the first down. Critical third down, I believe at that time we're down 7. And I knew that we had to convert. We absolutely had to convert, or that game could have got ugly really, really quick. And I knew that I made a mistake, so the only thing that was going through my mind at that time was find the ball and make a play so that you'd never hear about this ever again. So that was what was going through my mind.
Time for 2 more questions.
Carson's had 7 games as Georgia's starting quarterback. What have you learned about him in that role?
I think that I don't really think I've learned anything new. I think when you play with a guy for so long and you watch him practice and you watch the way that he carries himself, you kind of already know some things about him. Now, what I will say is that I've been impressed with his ability to stay composed because I know it's not easy being the head of the offense, being the quarterback, and when things don't go well, you want to take all of the blame. But I've been really impressed with his ability to just stay cool, calm, and collected, still find a ways to encourage guys. I think that's the biggest thing, is just that I think he stepped up in a tremendous way as a leader for us.
Yeah, want to kind of talk about Monroe Freeling a little bit more. What have some of those conversations been with him? I know Tate Ratledge kind of talked to him a little bit about, coming in and filling some shoes in the game against Vandy. But what are some of those conversations that you guys have had with him?
Like then or now?
Both.
So I think the thing about football is I think we do so much here. You don't want to overdo it. Like, you don't want to talk about football 24/7 and it only be your basis of a relationship with a person, because that's not real. That's not genuine. If I'm only talking to you about football, I don't care about your parents. I don't care about your family, any of that, right? So I think the thing is that you build a relationship with him. So a lot of the times we're not talking about ball unless we're doing something with ball or we're watching extra film or things like that, right? But I think in that moment, I think you're talking to him about he's already prepared. He's been against some of the best guys in the SEC at practice. He's done the work. He's been at these extra film sessions. He's worked extra after practice with Coach Searles, Coach Manry, Coach King, getting this extra technique. All of these things. I think it's just instilling the confidence in him to know that he'll be fine no matter what he does. Just go out there and play free and just trust that you are okay. And I think that was the biggest thing at that time, was just understanding that, you know, you have the ability to go out there and do the best that you can. And then I think after that, it's just making sure that he know that he played well and just not overdoing it, because I think when you start to talk too much about ball, it kind of becomes overbearing, and then your relationship solely becomes about football, and that's not really tangible for life.